It is 5 o'clock somewhere, and you've tuned into Season 3, Episode 8 of BRC. For those of you who'd like to watch this episode, I'd highly recommend it. You can view Season 3 on our website, YouTube, Spotify, WhiskeyNetwork.net, and Zencaster. I'm Kerry Moynahan, and in today's Tales from the Still, I speak with Christine Kammerer about how her whiskey journey collided with her passion for music, and how she became a witch. But first, let's see what's new in the world of whiskey. Kick off your shoes, pour yourself a dram, and join me for this episode of Barrel Room Chronicles. Last season on Barrel Room Chronicles, I embarked on an amazing journey through Ireland, from Dingle to Belfast and nearly everything in between. Now I'm going to do it all over again, but this time you're invited. That's right, join me this September for a trip of a lifetime through the rich tapestry of Irish whiskey culture. We'll visit iconic locations such as the Titanic Experience and the new Titanic Distillery, and tour through the lush Irish landscapes and visit filming locations from the hit TV series Game of Thrones. We'll also visit historic sites, including cathedrals, jails, castles, and more. Plus, we'll get to distill our very own batch of Clonakilty gin. To find out more or to book now, visit barrelroomchronicles.com and click on the Brock Tours photo. It's time now for Whiskey Business, where I report on new releases and other current events in the world of whiskey. May is a good time to spring into action, and that's just what Pappy & Company is doing with their Bourbon for Good sweepstakes. The Van Winkle triplets offer a bottle from their own collection in an effort to raise money to support a dedicated beneficiary. Through Bourbon for Good, the triplets have been able to highlight the incredible work of a variety of charities, both locally and nationally. Since May is ALS Awareness Month, they have partnered with Hop on a Cure all month long to help raise awareness for this debilitating disease. To learn more about Bourbon for Good and to see how you can help, check out the Pappy & Company blog. Tomatin Highland Single Malt is delighted to welcome a new member to their core range of Highland Single Malt whiskeys, Tomatin 12-Year-Old Sherry Cask. This new expression builds on their classic Tomatin 12-Year-Old, exploring the remarkable aromas and flavors that are uncovered when their new make is fully matured in sherry casks for a total of 12 years. Launching this week, this new single malt whiskey brings their award-winning core range portfolio to 6, with each distinctive expression matured in different cask types. To celebrate the summer season, Great Drams also has a new release called The Summer of Sport. Inspiration for this expression was taken from the success of other Great Drams flavor and occasion-led releases. The Summer of Sport release is a 10-year-old sherry cask matured blend with aromas of sticky dates, raisins, and undertones of sweet sherry. Deep within that first sip, there are more sweet sherry notes, complemented by crisp orchard fruits, sweet vanilla, and a hint of oak. The finish is smooth, mature, and full of character. More on summer beverages, Whiskey Advocate magazine reminds us not to sacrifice flavor for low ABV cocktails. In an article put out earlier this month, we learned many people are swapping their heavy whiskey drinks for lighter cocktails that can be sipped all day long. However, hard seltzers and clear-spirited highballs aren't the only options. Whiskey cocktails can also be low ABV, yet still be satisfying and complex. The trick is to use whiskey as an accent rather than a base. For samples of these cocktails, head over to barrelroomchronicles.com and click on the Whiskey Advocate link in today's show notes. Turning now to a celebration 200 years in the making, Macallan is celebrating their bicentennial with internationally renowned British singer-songwriter Emily Sandé alongside Ollie Green, who has composed a poignant soundtrack called Roots. The song is an artistic celebration of Macallan's legacy, their roots in nature, craftsmanship, and community. Their story is one of timeless progression. As they navigate from past to present and into the future, they show their roots, DNA, and core values in a short film called Time Traveling Since 1824, featuring Doctor Who's David Tennant. To watch this film or to get links to anything else we've discussed in today's Whiskey Business, visit our website for today's show notes. Coming up, I speak with an acclaimed international artist, who some might say is a witch. Tales from the Still is next. The ladies will love the look, and the men will feel marvelous. Why? Because Manscaped.com has head-to-toe tools and formulations for every hairy man's body. The star of the show is the Lawnmower 5.0 below-the-waist trimmer. It's got wireless charging, it's waterproof, and thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology, it's really smooth. Everything one needs to take care of everything below the waist is included in the Performance Package 5.0. The kit also includes the Crop Preserver deodorant and the Crop Reviver toner spray. Another popular item is the Weed Whacker hair trimmer. Gentlemen, keep your ears and nose hairs in check, and the women will love you for it. Whether you need grooming tools for your face or body, or just need the best in men's body care products, Manscaped.com has everything you need. Go to manscaped.com and use code BarrelRoom to get 20% off your order today. Hello, good evening, good afternoon, whatever time it is you are catching the show today. Today on the show, I have Christine Kammerer. She is a fantastic artist. I came across her on Facebook, through all my whiskey things, but then I found out so many more things about her, which has to do with witches, and there's singing, and there's whiskey, and there's just so many things. So I couldn't wait to get her on the show today. So Christine, thank you so much for taking some time out, and welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me on it. I'm absolutely amazed to be here.
Great. I usually start out every show asking your whiskey journey. So I think I'll ask that, but then tell me also how all these other things kind of incorporated your whiskey journey, and when did you first get into whiskey? Yeah, let's go with that.
Well, the first whiskey I ever had, as far as I remember, was on my first trip to Scotland. I was 18. I was a waitress at a hunting castle for a week, because I had a friend who was a chef. Yeah, it was really an estate somewhere, and I can't remember where it was, but it was beautiful. And it was my first trip to Scotland. And then, it's where a lot of CEOs and CFOs went to drink, eat, and hunt for a week, which is an amazing combination, by the way. And
drunk people and guns. Yeah, this is a great idea.
Yeah. One of them actually almost shot the other because he forgot to, crack the gun or whatever it's called.
I have no idea.
Yeah, no, me neither. But no, so I had a Lefroy 10 there.
Oh,
I remember it quite vividly because I remember having it and thinking, this is like licking an ashtray, but I don't know why I like it.
Oh, you did like it?
Yeah, I loved it. I just went,
oh, that's funny.
I'm not supposed to like this, am I? But I liked it. And I've been a peated whiskey woman ever since. Well, when it comes to whiskey, I don't discriminate. I love them all equally. As long as it's good, it's good. And then it just went from there. I started getting more and more curious about whiskies, and through my university years, and then traveled back and forth to Scotland a lot over a decade before moving here.
And you're from Denmark originally?
I am, where I actually co-founded a whiskey club before I went to Scotland. So, yeah.
Wait. So you co-found? Oh, you mean after 18, but before you came and stayed?
Yeah, about 6-7 years ago now. Yeah.
Okay. Is that club still in existence?
It is. It is. It's called the Red Label Society.
Oh, cute.
And yeah, it was with a group of my friends who I've known since I was 15, 16. Great guys, heavy metal heads like myself. And that's how we got to know each other.
Okay, so growing up, were you involved in music like in school, or did you take lessons somewhere, or how did you get into music also?
That was my granddad, my Bavarian granddad. So a lot of my family comes from Bavaria or Bayern. And he was a composer and a folk musician. So he taught me to play piano when I was 6, got me into singing when I was 8, I think. And I was a goner. Then, yeah, it was all music from then. All throughout high school, I specialized in it. I studied musicology at university, but before that, I did a 6 months intensive course in musical theatre. Did my master's in music as well. So and now I live off being a composer and singer and weird whiskey person.
I love it. Now, when you came back to Scotland and you came to stay and you got your visa, Johnny Walker has something to do with that, perhaps, maybe?
Okay. And not to do with the visa per se. I got the job after I got the visa, but I'd been wanting to do these musical whiskey experiences since 2019, actually. And I'd been first of all to the whiskey shop in Inverness, had some great conversations with them about it. And but then COVID and everything happened, and then the world disappeared for about 3 years.
Right. Yeah.
I tried out with 2 other bars and then just never really clicked. And then I met Jane Ross, who I do Whiskey and Witches with today. Told her about this idea for musical whiskey tasting. And she'd been thinking about doing something like that as well. So it's just like, okay, great minds think alike. Let's see what we can do with this.
Great.
Yeah.
So
And
tell me, what exactly is Whiskey and Witches? What do you guys do when you have gatherings, or is that the good word to use for it? I mean, with witches, I think gatherings would work.
I love when you said gatherings, I just pictured us standing over a cauldron and muttering spells into
Right?
it, which is honestly just a Friday night. But um, so, Whiskey and Witches is it's a musical whiskey experience where we pair 5 different whiskies with stories and creatures from folklore that fit to the regions or the countries that the whiskies come from. And then I compose music or select some folk songs that I arrange in a new way to then go with each of the whiskies.
Wow.
So they all fit together, emphasizing the character of the spirits and the spirits within the spirit, so to speak.
Wow. And
So,
how long is one of these evenings last usually with the 5?
so with the 5, it goes for 2 hours because
Wow.
what we include as well is women's role in not just whiskey history, but alcohol history in general, and also um, how putting the stamp witches on some of these women aided in, well, not aided in, but in effect pushed out women from the whiskey industry and the alcohol industry, which is something we're still struggling to, regain footing in today.
Right. That's amazing. So every time you do, so is it the same 5 every time, or you have to do research every time you do one of these?
No, so we've got like a baseline one where we do the 5, or we typically do 4 of the 5 whiskey regions in Scotland and then an international one because we
Okay.
always want to get something a bit different. And we primarily we try to work with independent bottlers, smaller distilleries with an amazing product, up and coming distilleries, female led distilleries, to offer something that is different. But for instance, we've worked with one sponsor for a lot of our shows in 2023 called Spirit Filled. Great guys to work with, and then, but for May, for instance, so Spirit of Speyside, I'm doing a musical whiskey experience that's solely about Speyside spirits and
Oh, great.
Speyside whiskies. So for that, I will have to do a lot of new research.
How do I get tickets for
Um,
that?
oh, you just come over.
And I would love to have you guys come to the States. We could totally do a Barrel Room Chronicles edition of Whiskey and Witches and have you guys come
Yes,
out.
that would be stunning. A post coming to the States, for instance. Oh, that's something to look forward for and try out for 2025.
Okay. Okay.
I feel something brewing, pun intended.
So,
Sorry.
how many of these Whiskey and Witches events have you done, do you think?
We have done 18. 15
Oh,
of
wow.
them
Okay.
have been sold out. We did it for the Fringe last year.
Oh,
And Edinburgh Festival Fringe, which is one of the biggest, if not the biggest cultural festival in the world, lasts for the entire month of August, is an absolutely amazing time to be a tourist in Edinburgh. It's an absolutely horrible time to be living in
yeah,
Edinburgh.
I bet.
No, it's good. But by the end of August, you just go like, could you please just go home? I just want to walk down the streets
Yeah.
without anyone taking a random picture of me or accidentally photobombing someone. And then
Do you dress up for all of this, like in a Celtic outfit of sorts, or a witch outfit or something?
we do dress up for like in a, how do you say, a modern day version of a witch outfit because we don't really want it to be, it's not a gimmick, which a lot of people think it is when they come to it. It's, we've actually had people crying at these events,
Wow.
younger and older men coming up to us and say, I have 2 daughters whom I will now never look at the same way because of your stories. I had
Wow.
no idea this has happened. And I distinctly remember one of our shows, we had 6 guys, early 20s, mid 20s, sitting at the very back of the room. And they were, in the beginning, the first 15, 20 minutes, they were goofing around a bit. They weren't disturbing anything, but.
Or paying attention.
And
Okay.
yeah, well, they were paying attention, sort of. But after the first half hour, they were completely just sucked into it. And they actually came up to us and said thank you afterwards. They didn't say anything but that. They just said thank you. And 2 of them
Wow.
had been crying.
Wow.
So
And they were in their 20s.
they were in the 20s. Yes. They were in the 20s. Typical borderline, not, up to no good, but kind of in that direction. But it was great. I think that's one of those things. It's whether it's with Whiskey and Witches or whether it's with music, whatever I can do to, well, Whiskey and Witches is music as well. Whatever I can do to make people think or make them feel and connect is what lies behind everything I do, really.
Yeah. So tell me about your part-time gig with Johnny Walker. What is that about?
So I am an experience ambassador and performance artist at Johnny Walker. I've been there for just over a year and a half now. It's such a great place. Like I don't know about you, Kerry, but I've been to over 20, 30 different distilleries and it never gets old.
Right.
This is kind of like a great addition to the whiskey industry because it offers something quite different. We do have the traditional whiskey tastings, and I do all the different tastings there. Everything from cask tastings to sit-down tastings. But the primary thing we've got is a thing called Journey of Flavor. And if you imagine if Willy Wonka and the World of Whiskey had a child and sprinkled some Disney on top of it, that's kind of the Journey of Flavor.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds like something I'd be down for.
I think you would love it. I think you would love it. And part of it is a little play. So I do that as well as the tours. And it makes for a very varied and very interesting day when you're in.
That's interesting. So were they doing this before you got there, or they found out all your talents and said, oh, we got to add all this extra stuff?
Oh my God, I would love to see the last. No. So Johnny Walker, the Johnny Walker Experience on Princess Street in Edinburgh opened in September 2021.
Okay.
And amazing. It was such a great time to open a destination tourist attraction. Yeah. So, and they struggled with that in the beginning as well. But no, I joined in August 2022.
Okay.
So not long after I came over on the Viking ship. Of course.
Was it really the Viking ship?
Again, I wish I could say yes.
Viking Cruises. Nope, not even that.
Not even. Although I have a friend that actually works there.
Nice. My mom and my niece went on a Viking cruise, I think 2019. And my niece is like, I need to go back.
I'm sorry if I'm getting ahead of myself, but speaking of the Vikings, because I do have a Viking band that I've had for the past 6 years, because I finished my degree in musicology and I thought I want to work with curating cultural heritage through music, and no museum has a job title like that. Mm-hmm. So what do? You start a band, you start conducting research and come up with weird new compositions. So they have been, a lot of those musicians have been contributing to my solo album. So throughout January, because they're Danes, I had 3 of them over first, then I had another one, and one of my colleagues at Johnny Walker just looked at me and saying, is this just a very, very slow version of a new Viking invasion, or what's going on?
Love it. I love it.
Don't tell them.
Okay, so I feel like I'm so interested in all of your things that I'm just jumping around so much and never let you finish the beginning to end. So you came to Scotland after building a whiskey society or club back home. You're into music everywhere. Where did you go to school?
So I studied musicology at Copenhagen University.
Okay.
And then after that, I decided to actually do a degree in, cultural studies and strategic communication. Because I wanted to have a broader view on how music worked as an agent which carried meaning or acted in the world, be that political, social, cultural, or anything. And then I actually specialized in the discussion of the gendered body in a comparative study of heavy metal and pop music, to see how, especially the genre and the use of the voice, would aid in our understanding of the gendered body,
Wow.
the female body in general. And I think I carried a lot of that into my work with Viking music because there's so much powerful femininity in Viking or ancient pagan cultures, no matter
Hmm.
where you have it, it doesn't have to be Viking, just pagan
Right.
or animist cultures in general, where the feminine powers of nature, for instance, are just as powerful and just as well equal to masculine powers. Um, so I think it's not something I thought about consciously until someone actually mentioned it last year, that it's something I've carried with me always, also in
Wow.
Whiskey and Witches, which is about powerful women too. So
So your partner in Whiskey and Witches, is she also a musician, or are you the sole musical talent for that part?
So I do all the music for Whiskey and Witches, although Jane is actually trained in musical theatre.
Oh, great.
So, but she doesn't. She was always more of a dancer and an actor than a singer. So, what we're thinking though, in ways of developing or reevaluating our concept, is to make it more interactive between she and I. So
Hmm.
more sort of like a play throughout. Um, to get some of that in there. We already do that to some degree, but to get it a bit more. So we might as well just, use all the tools we have in our
Yeah.
weird and wonderful toolbox.
So when you guys did your very first one, how nervous were you?
Oh, I don't know if you can say that on a podcast. I was sitting myself. Also because when we did the first one in November, Jesus, 2022.
Okay.
Wow. That's 2 calendar years ago. Not 2 years, but 2 calendar years.
Yeah.
November 2022. Everyone around me was sick and leading up to it. So I was just trying to stay healthy. And my voice actually wasn't the best on the night. It was good, but I was quite nervous. This sounds weird, but I feel more comfortable standing in front of 500 people and singing than in a room of 30 where I can see everyone in the
Oh,
eye.
yeah. Yeah.
Not that it's a funny thing because I love that. I love intimate concerts. And what Whiskey and Witches has done is actually that it's brought me closer into being comfortable and seeing the vast advantages of doing that. So I'm much more comfortable in it today. I'm always a bit nervous that I'm gonna scream the head off someone because my voice is quite loud at times.
Okay.
Um
So you don't need any amplification. You don't use any microphones or anything. You're just out there singing.
oh I do, but sometimes I
Okay.
will just move away from the microphone.
I'm over here.
Yeah. I was in the studio the other day and I was laying down just a scratch track, just to have some cue vocals to work from. And I was just sitting and doing it in the studio with the with the producer next to me. And when I was done, I looked at him and he just sat in the corner like this.
Yeah.
And I was like, Gav, are you okay? Yeah, you hit 93 decibels. And he had he had
Oh,
it
wow.
on his watch in quite a small room. So I'm apparently louder than a lawnmower when you're standing next to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's good to know.
Yeah.
That's good to have that kind of a powerful. Yeah.
It's when we're out on Viking markets, we don't have any amplification. So, but no, I have a very dynamic, voice and voice use. So, but it's
So
good to.
how many different types of music do you perform to and write to?
See, I've specialized in folk music for the past 6, 7 years,
Okay.
but I used to be in a heavy metal band in my early 20s.
Love it.
Still love heavy metal to bits. I actually went to LA in 2019 and wrote a couple of songs with the guitars there, which were it was really good. But then, lockdown happened and nothing more happened.
Yeah.
But maybe I'll be back someday. I would actually really love to. Then I do musical theatre. Viking Age music, quite pagan music, some pop music, or poppy, I would say. Maybe more singer-songwriter style.
Okay.
So a lot of different jazz. Yeah.
Oh, I love jazz. I used to be a
Me
jazz
too.
trumpet player in my youth.
You were?
I was.
Did you train for that as well? Did you go to study music at school?
I did in before college. Once I got to college, I stopped, but I studied music from 6th grade through high school and loved it. And then I don't know why I didn't continue in college.
It seems like a lot of people, they stop playing music when they go to college and think like,
I
if I'm
know.
not doing anything with it, why then keep it up? But well, for the heck of it, because it's fun.
Yeah, well, my problem was trumpets are very loud. So,
Yeah.
you can't really, if somebody's playing trumpet next door in an apartment, So,
That's very true.
yeah.
That is very true. Yeah.
I also
No, I
used
can
to play
see the
guitar,
challenge.
and that's easy. Like, if I'm playing my electric guitar, just turn it down or don't plug it in. And if
Yeah.
I'm playing acoustic, it's not going to be too bad, but I don't play that much anymore either. But so where can people listen to your music right now? But I know you're working on a solo album, and we'll get to that in a second, but do you have anything else out that people can like download or buy currently?
We've got a very old EP with our band called Geldale, which is now no longer in existence. It's become our new band called Jotunga.
And these words mean what?
So Geldale was a mixture between the Norse word galdr, which means magical singing, magical songs,
Okay.
and lay, which was an old Norse word for singing, dancing, playing music all together, like all combined,
Oh, wow.
storytelling, all of that all together in one. So we took that, played around with it, and it became Geldale. And Jotunger is it's spelled Jotunger, and a
Okay.
Jotun in I can write it for you as well. A Jotun or Jotnir is a giant, or a sort of giant in Norse mythology.
Okay.
And in Danish, another word for kid is unge. You can also call someone møgunge, which means mischievous child.
Okay.
And then we thought, okay, why not combine these? Because these giants, Jotun, they also represent the wild forces of nature. So we took this Jotun term and put unger into it. So we're quite kind of like the unruly children with unruly powers, like still taking it seriously, but also not taking ourselves too seriously. If that makes sense.
Okay.
It's kind of like a play on words. And it was easier for people who are not from Denmark to say Jotunger than it was to say Geldale.
Okay. I could see that. And you can get this music on where?
We've got it on Bandcamp, and it's. I hate to talk my music down, but it's pure quality, and it's a while ago. And but the songs are good. And then I released an EP in 2020 because I thought that was such a good idea. So it was a project that I worked on for a long time, and I needed to get it out into the world. It's called Growing Pains.
Okay.
And it was an EP about working your way through, using music to work your way through trauma and resolving them. And that's on Spotify, that's on Bandcamp. So if you wish to support me, please buy that off Bandcamp, especially now that I'm about to renew my visa, because that's expensive. And I'm on SoundCloud as well, and I think most of my music, which are also demos, Like SoundCloud is my biggest channel right now until the album comes out.
Okay.
And YouTube, of course, as well. I've got loads of live recordings on YouTube, and covers as well. I did a cover of The Dragonborn Comes
Oh, that
from
sounds like a
Skyrim.
fun song.
Do you know it?
No, but
Oh,
Dragon. I mean, that sounds fun.
I know it's from the game Skyrim, and like the beginning goes, our hero claims a warrior's heart. I tell you, the dragonborn comes. And then on and on and on.
That's pretty.
It's such a nice song. That was also a while ago, and there's a video for that and everything. So those are like the main channels.
Okay, now let's talk about your solo album that you're working on now, and how can people help with that?
So I have, for as long as I've been traveling to Scotland, I have kind of done what I call harvested songs and melodies. So when you go out as a singer, you harvest inspiration, you harvest different things, and sometimes melodies pop up. So these songs have been in the making for, I think, 8 years.
Oh,
Some
wow.
of them. Some of them are quite new, though, as well. And it's a symphonic fusion between Nordic and Celtic folk music. So I've got 3 Danish musicians on the project, 3 Scottish musicians, a Norwegian musician, and then the album is being produced in Scotland and then mastered by a Norwegian producer who's also a folk musician. So it really is a meeting between the cultures in every conceivable way.
Mm-hmm.
And I did a Kickstarter campaign actually for it, which ended in December, and I raised £5,000 for it.
Okay.
For the production of the album, which covers the production of it, the payment for the musicians, but nothing more than that.
Right.
So I'm considering setting up a Patreon because to help get some funds also for the PR and marketing campaign that we're working on just now, to get some funding for the artwork. And honestly, Kerry, the best way people can support is to buy the album when it's out. If you buy it on Bandcamp or make a donation on Spotify or whatever it is, and I really mean this, every little bit helps, because what we don't use for the PR and marketing, we will use for touring later this year and next year. And we've got some plans on doing a tour in Scandinavia and Germany and the UK right now.
Wow.
So,
and then have you recorded the album already, or you're still working on it?
We have recorded 95%.
Okay.
So what we need now is we need a big choir on 2 of them, on 2 of the songs. And we need some final contributions from the Norwegian musician and on a Danish song. But once that's done, then that's the album done. And then hopefully, sorry?
How many songs are on it?
There are 9 right now, possibly a 10th, but we're not sure. So the hope is to release in June. So we've got enough time to do the marketing for it, the PR and everything, getting the word out. 2024
and then in the meantime, you're still Whiskey and Witches and working at the distillery. And do you do anything else on the side as you've got all these? It's like you're a master of side jobs.
What we always say is that being a musician is like having a patchwork life. And it really is.
Yeah.
So right now we're doing my album here. We're doing the album for Jotunger, which is also going to be out in springtime. And I did a degree as a producer, which I finished last year. So I'm doing a lot of the work on that album. Then I am writing a jingle and a musical interpretation of a whiskey for an independent bottler in Germany.
Oh, wow.
And I'm writing essentially an album for a museum which is reopening. So
where's the museum located?
So that's in Scotland as well. It's the Scottish Cranach Centre, and I've been working with them for 3 or 4 years now.
Wow.
It's an Iron Age village, so they are currently rebuilding, or just about to be finished rebuilding, an entire open air museum.
Oh, wow.
Huge open air museum. And I'm composing an album for them, which some of the songs are going to be performed at the opening day, and a lot of it is going to be used at the site by visitors, by the museum itself, and then at some point I'm going to record it into an album. But we need funding for that first. So,
and where's the museum again? Where in Scotland?
In Scotland, in Kenmore, so near Aberfeldy. It's up just in the beginning of the Highlands, about a couple of hours from north of Edinburgh, where I live.
Wow, I love.
Oh, and I
love
do
Aberfeldy.
voice work as well.
Voice as in voiceover, or just singing for other people, or what do you mean by voice work?
So right now, I've done a lot of singing for other people and other people's things. I'm really looking to get into doing audiobooks, so just doing voices for different movies, games. But I recently did the Just Eat commercial in Danish.
Okay.
The singing for that.
Great.
I don't know if you've seen the English version over there.
Mm-mm.
No.
No.
It was in a lot of different languages in a lot of different countries. And was it Christine Aguilera and Lotta were doing an entire video for it. That was a lot of fun.
Wow. You're very busy.
Yeah, much like yourself. I just don't sleep. And I've found out a way to create a 25th hour in a day. So
yeah. Okay. So let's tell everybody all of your social handles and everything, and where they can find everything about you, because I want everyone to hear your music, because it's absolutely gorgeous.
Oh, thank you so much, Kerry. I can't wait, to share that album with you as well, because it's been child of my heart for 8 years. Now it's a heartburst. It is sometimes.
Yeah.
So I'm on Facebook as Christine Kammerer. My surname is spelled Kammerer. And Instagram, it's the same. It's Christine.Kammerer. It's my name on SoundCloud as well, on Spotify. It's the same on YouTube. So I've hopefully made it quite easy by not having an artist name, at least not yet.
That's great. That's fantastic.
It's just me.
Well, I can't wait to hear the full album when it comes out.
Oh, thank you so much, Kerry.
Christine, well, thank you so much for being on the show today. And we will catch up with you at another time, because I can definitely see you coming back and participating in our Whiskey Whereabouts section, so we can see what's going on with you and follow up with you later.
That sounds amazing. Count me in. Thank you so much.
Unleashed Coffee is a farm-to-cup adventure like no other. Step into a world where exceptional flavors, tantalizing aromas, and rich mouthfeel take you on a journey from your kitchen to the picturesque coffee plantations at origin. At Unleashed Coffee, we believe in fostering connections between coffee lovers and the hardworking farmers behind each bean. Join the journey through our coffee subscription program and gain access to our exclusive online community, connecting you to fellow enthusiasts and the producers of your morning brew. To help you extract every nuance of flavor from our beans, take part in our on-demand coffee brewing courses right in the comfort of your own home. If you are seeking B2B coffee solutions that go beyond just beans, our comprehensive wholesale packages cater to the diverse needs of mobile carts, farm stands, restaurants, cafes, retail shelves, and more. Look no further than Unleashed Coffee to quench your thirst for quality coffee. Use coupon code COFFEEBRC at the checkout to receive 10% off your first purchase at unleashedcoffee.com.
That does it for today's show. To read notes on this episode or learn more about our guests, please visit barrelroomchronicles.com. Want to interact with the show or have questions for our guests? Then ask them on our socials or send us an email. Or better yet, leave us a voicemail on our website. If you like what you heard, please rate and subscribe to the podcast. If you really liked it and you want to show your support, buy us a whiskey through our Ko-fi site at ko-fi.com/BRC or become an exclusive member of the Barrel Room Parlor. If you work in the whiskey or spirits industry or just have a deep passion for whiskey and want to share your spirits journey, register to be a guest through our website. Last but not least, please enjoy your spirits responsibly. Thanks for joining me. Until next time, Solanjava.
Barrel Room Chronicles is a production of First Reel Entertainment and is available on Spotify, Apple, Google, iHeartRadio, Amazon, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts.